Well, good morning. We're still kind of into deadheading, cleaning up, and harvesting. And as you can see, Al has harvested some of his lavender that he uses in tea, but we'd like to leave some because, as you can see, we've got honeybees all over this. They love it. So in deference to the honeybees, we're leaving some lavender. This flower bed, as you can see, has gotten to be kind of a jungle, and so I'm kind of in the process of pruning out the deadheading, the stuff that's already bloomed, and we're going to have some Rebeckia and some echinacea and probably some sunflowers here pretty soon, so it'll get colorful again. In the meantime, we are spreading some western red cedar around some of the flower beds, and so Al's over here will show you what he's doing.
By the way, the lavender, the reason I put lavender in the tea is I suffer from leg cramps at night, and the lavender really helps in that regard. If I don't take the stuff, I'll have cramps probably 5 nights out of the week, and when I do take it, maybe once or twice a month. So if it works for you, great. If it doesn't, anyway, it sure smells good and it tastes good in your tea. But anyway, we're unloading this red cedar that Gretchen picked up at, I think it was Lowe's, wasn't it, sweetheart?
Yes,
Yeah.
And I get about 4 of them at a time. That's about all my car and I can handle.
What we've been trying to do is that Gretchen goes and gets the stuff and lets the staff load for her, and I'm kind of low on energy right now this summer, working, preparing and being treated on a medical issue, and so it's nice to be able to have a trailer and a tractor to move this stuff around instead of like I used to do. I used to just carry it. Okay, there's that. We'll move this into the back, and I'll be stopping at the first flower bed where Gretchen has done some work, and we'll talk about that for a bit. What I wanted you to see is this flower bed over here. Gretchen has done just an absolutely phenomenal job on it. And if you want to move over that way, Gretchen, I'll grab the camera and you can kind of move in and talk about what you've done here.
Well, the first thing I did is I did have to trim back the oriental poppy. And as you can see, it will start to get some new growth.
Yeah, it's already starting to pop up some
And then
new stuff.
here's a small one. And it just covered this whole area. So once I got it cut out, there's a white oriental poppy too, a small one. Then I just filled this in, made sure I got all the weeds out. It was kind of fun having to lift the grass and make sure I got it under there. And then we had a lot of calendula coming up in here. That's this stuff here.
It was like a weed bed. I mean, not a weed bed, it was like a hayfield, all calendula, and Gretchen pulled all that out.
Thinned it out.
In fact, she missed one, and I'll just get it right now. This is a...
Oh, there's a weed, yeah.
There's a weed, 2 weeds there. There's I think that's sorrel, and I think this other one is spurge, but I'll have to look it up. I don't remember. Anyhow, this is what she's been doing. But one of the things I wanted to point out that we're going to talk about here in a little bit is the difference between a weed and a plant. Well, all weeds are plants, but no getting around that. But a weed is what it is, where it is, and how it got there. And in the case of these, this was just totally covered with calendula because they seeded from last year's plants. So they had to be thinned out. So some of them are plants, as you can see, they're in the bed, and some are weeds and they're not around anymore. One of the things I wanted to point out on our way to the next project that we wanted to talk to you about is the lavender. It's in the greenhouse. Here in Idaho, it's so hot in the summer that a greenhouse that just burns the plants up. We thought, well, we just won't use the greenhouse in the summer. But we found out that plants that we want to dry and food that we want to dry for future use really does a good job in the greenhouse. So let's step in there and I'll show you what I've been doing there. Now, as you can see right here, I've got a tray of lavender that I cut out front, and it's already drying an awful lot and not quite ready to put away for the winter, but that'll be the flowers for my tea come this winter. But anyway, it dries really well here in the greenhouse. $80 degrees now, but it's 8 o'clock in the morning. It'll be a lot more, it'll be closer to the 120 mark by the time noon comes around. Anyway, one of the things I wanted to point out to all of you is another one of the plants that are plants or weeds. And let's take a walk over to the berry patch, and I'll show you just what I mean. Had to stop and grab a raspberry. Darn, they're good. Anyway, here is where we have beans this year. But notice all these weeds down here. Those aren't weeds. Those are volunteer tomato plants that came up from seed left over from last year that the plant spread around. And all along this fence was just a solid mass of tomato plants just like this that I pulled out yesterday, and all we've got left here now is these few to finish pulling out. However, we did salvage a couple and move them over here to grow some more plants.
Well, I'm going to have a raspberry too, but I'm going to have a golden raspberry. In fact, I have two. I want to show what I did yesterday, because we don't just work when we're filming. Over where I was putting the red cedar, I had a bunch of not only the calendula, but I had echinacea that was coming up from seed. So yesterday I just transplanted a bunch of it in here. Look at, you can see that the birds have been eating the raspberries and pooping on my plants.
Yeah, it's
anyway, I've got 25 echinacea plants.
and those are all volunteers from stuff that seeded last year, huh?
Yes, and I got, here's another one of our little volunteer tomatoes.
Volunteer tomato that we grew that in the greenhouse over the winter, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. And what I'm doing is something different. I'm cording it. So what you do is you wrap it around twine, and then the only thing that I'll let grow is the stuff I'm wrapping around twine. Oops, we've got a clematis too that's infringing.
We'll do some pruning here real quick. Well, another project that
you have to do in its time is picking the raspberries. And as you can see, we're getting quite a few nice raspberries. I pruned them a lot heavier this year and left fewer canes, so we'll see if that does anything for the size. But I think maybe I overdid it with just 2 canes. I'm going to try 3 or 4 next year. I've been reading up a little bit. But I'm picking just the most ripe because the kids are coming this weekend. And I want to be sure that the grandkids have some berries to pick.
Well, that's it for this week. Thanks so much for joining us. See you next week.
Bye.